Well, they both worked in garment factories, but the one where he worked at was always the owner was always cheating the workers. You know, he paid with cash and underpaid everyone, but when he reported taxes, you know, he would report the full minimum wage, and then the payroll tax was deducted from, you know, the salary. So my dad was making like nothing, including my mom bringing home the bread, so to speak.
She learned to sew, so she was a seamstress. She was a factory worker, and then she went to night school to learn English. It was when everybody in Chinatown, if you were a woman, you work in the factory sewing. Rows of sewing machines and women working on the sewing machine, and you know, one section would be where they had the iron press. It looked just like those pictures, you know, that you see of New York.
My dad's factory was around Broadway area, and then my mom her first factory was actually on Division Street across from Confucius Plaza.
We used to have a lot of factories down here. The entire Mott Street, Elizabeth Street, all those office buildings, they were factories.
Because we didn't have after-school daycare, you know, parents pick you up and they bring you right up to the garment factories, and you'll meet like half of your other class, you know, like up in the factory, and it was just playtime, you know, kind of playing around, and you made it your own playground. So where they hung kind of like the finished garments on the hanger racks, you know, those racks, those bars became our jungle gym. You know, we would like kind of run along fire escapes and play like in the stairwells. And
I remember when it was really in to have the empire waist dresses, and they would have that little tie. She would, you know, you would sew pieces, like she would do the sleeves and someone else would do the bottom part because it would require a different machine. I remember my brother and I would get a penny each if we reversed the straps. We had long chopsticks and you would poke it through, or you would sit and you would cut the thread. It'll be like a penny a garment. And usually the older women sat at another table doing that. The clothing tags, we would have the job of tying all three tags together, you know, and then my mom would sew it. And when we got older, we learned to use the machines. You know, I was helping her sew in the 3rd grade. My mom said it was so sad because I would be sitting in a machine and my foot barely reached the pedal, and I had to use my toes. But you know, what was I gonna do? Sit there and do nothing? It was hot in the summer. This was, you know, you had one big fan that was blowing, but that was it. It was hot.
But there was kind of a drill, I remember. So when they said there was an inspector coming, or someone who was like an outsider, we all knew where to run to hide. You know, so everyone had like a hiding place. And then they always talked about, oh, so-and-so got caught, and then that owner got fined.
When the union would come to investigate, they would hide us out the fire escape. And the fire escape would be pretty safe because they had cardboard everywhere so it wouldn't fall through.
I remember where my hid was like this big kind of cart where they put bundles of cloth. So I would like kind of jump in, and then they would put the cloth on top of me, and then it was just like, okay, just be quiet, and then like hide there until they were done.
In those big buckets where they would keep clothes, you know, where they would pile the clothes up, they would just put cardboard and cover us. You know, I was pretty risky back then, but you know, she didn't have a choice. It wasn't like we were bothered by it. Everybody else did that.